Hello everyone, welcome to Michigan Man MTG, and today I'm going to be looking at the top 10 uncommon cards from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Standard. So let's dive in. So at number 10 I've got Go Ninja Go for a red and a white mana. It's a sorcery, and the nice thing about the card, it's flexible because you get to do one or both things. You can exile target creature you control, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, so you can get, again, an enter the battlefield trigger. And then also, Go Ninja Go deals damage equal to the greatest power among creatures you control to target creature an opponent controls. So you got these dual modes here, which I think make it very playable in any of our Boros decks in Standard. Next, at number 9, I've got Saved by the Shell for 1 and a green mana. You get an instant, and this spell costs 1 less to cast if you control Turtle. And put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it gains trample, hexproof, and indestructible until end of turn. And I think even if you're paying 2 mana for this, getting all 3 of those abilities and also the +1/+1 counter, I think is more than worth it in Standard. At number 8, I've got Genghis Frog for a green and a blue mana. You get a legendary creature. It's a frog mutant rogue and a 1/3 with trample. And whenever Genghis Frog or another mutant you control enters the battlefield, create a mutagen token. And this is part of an infinite combo that we're seeing with the blue lane line in Standard. You make everything a mutant, and then you can create with a card from the Final Fantasy set an infinite loop where you're just creating token after token after token. And eventually, it just kind of creates this infinite loop where you can create an infinite number of tokens. So, interesting card. I think there will be other places for it as well. So, Genghis Frog comes in at number 8. At number 7, I've got Fugitive Droid for a blue mana. You get an artifact creature that's a robot scientist. It's a 1/1, and this creature can't be blocked if an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, and you can sacrifice it for a green mana and a counter target spell that targets an artifact or creature you control. So very powerful ability on there, and that's why I really like this card, and I expect it to see play in Standard. And having it potentially be unblockable as well, I think more than makes this a very good card in Standard, because you can improvised arsenal onto this, and then it gets +1 for each of the artifacts that you have. So when it's unblockable, you might be attacking for 5 to 10 damage on every attack, and because of that, I've got it at number 7. At number 6, I've got Splinter Hamato Yoshi for a colorless and a black mana. You can legendary creature that's a mutant ninja rat and is a 1/3 with sneak of a black mana, and you may cast this spell for a black mana if you also return an unblocked attacker you control to hand during the declared blocker step. He enters tapped and attacking. He also has menace, and other ninjas you control get +1/+1, and I think that's really the ability that makes this card powerful. People have been experimenting since the set came out with creating a ninja deck around Kaido, and Splinter makes perfect sense to be a part of that deck because he's going to give all of your ninjas +1/+1. At number 5, I've got Dimensional Exile for 1 and a white mana. You get an enchantment, that's an aura, and you're going to enchant basic land you control. And when this aura enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until this aura leaves the battlefield. We've had a similar enchantment in the past where you enchant a land and you take a creature off the battlefield, and typically it's very hard for your opponent to destroy that land, which would destroy the aura, because there's not a lot of enchantment removal right now in Standard, and because of that, I think this is a really good removal card to put in white decks. At number 4, I've got Death in the Family for 1 and a black mana. You get an instant, and you get to exile target creature with mana value 3 or less. Most of the creatures that we're seeing played in Standard are mana value 3 or less, and the ability to exile that creature, I think, is good enough to see Standard play. Alright, at number 3, I've got Shredder's Technique for 2 and a black mana. You get a sorcery with sneak of a black mana, and you get to destroy target creature or enchantment. If an enchantment was destroyed this way, you lose 2 life. So potentially for 1 mana, if you're sneaking this into play, you can destroy an enchantment on your opponent's side. Normally, black doesn't have very many, if any, ways to destroy enchantments, and this is just a very powerful way for black to do that. So I think this is definitely going to be a sideboard card in many black decks, if not mainboarded, because of the ability for 1 mana to kill a creature or destroy an enchantment. Alright, coming in at number 2, I've got the Last Ronin's Technique for 3 and a white mana. You get an instant with Sneak of 1 and a white mana. Create 3 1/1 white Ninja Turtle spirit creature tokens. If the spell Sneak cost was paid, they enter tapped and attacking. So very powerful ability here. You're putting 1 card back in your hand. Again, you're putting one of your creatures, probably a 1-drop, because you can play this as early as turn 2. Put that back in your hand, and then you're sneaking in your 3 ninjas. And again, this will be another key part of our ninja deck in Standard. And at number 1, I've got Dream Beavers for a black mana. You get a creature that's a Beaver Nightmare, and it's a 1/1 with flying. And when this creature enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life, and you get to scry 1, which means that you can look at the top card of your library when this card comes into play, and you may put that card on the bottom of your library. So this is a great card for Standard. That ability to, to do chip damage to your opponent is very powerful. And I've seen it already in bounce style decks where you're bouncing it back to your hand so you can replay it. So I think Dream Beavers is going to be one of the more played cards from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I will be back throughout the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Standard season with some videos of decks that I'm playing in Standard. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe to get further content like this throughout Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle preview season and beyond. Thanks. I'll see you in the next one.